If you ever enjoyed games like Dave the Diver for their underwater gameplay mechanics, now let me take you on an adventure with Dive the Depths. I will show you how I not only faced the challenges but went beyond them. In Dive the Depths, I become a diver venturing into deepest ocean depths where no one had gone before. My mission? Discover what's below, battle dangerous creatures straight from nightmares, and confronting tough challenges in the form of titanic bosses hidden somewhere in the abyss. I started in version 0.1.6a of this action roguelike, and as it turned out, the world wasn't exactly friendly. First up was the tutorial. Basic stuff about my surroundings, but I figured that the parts weren't crucial to the story, so I chose to skip them. After training, I embarked on my first adventure. The world generated procedurally, and with seconds, I was diving into deep hostile waters. I selected an anchor as my weapon, slow and heavy, but it deals significant damage. I adapted my playstyle to suit this weapon. As I explored, I spotted a strange object, which thanks to the tutorial I recognized as a chest containing valuable items. Inside I found a regulator, a passive device boosting my healing and swimming speed, but only outside of combat. Then I claimed my first victim, a small, non-aggressive fish that ventured too close. I harvested shells, the in-game currency, and an orb granting experience. It was clear that in this harsh environment I had to hunt other creatures to avoid becoming prey myself. My weapon, like others, had two attack types, a basic one and a special one. For the anchor, the special attack resembled a torpedo, which I eagerly tested, successfully hunting another creature. But these were the weakest underwater inhabitants, more dangerous one awaited. I encountered a shopkeeper, but being new, I lacked the funds to purchase anything. I ventured deep into the unknown. Soon, I discovered a peculiar statue or obelisk, and I was curious about its purpose. Activating it created a circle around it and began luring dangerous creatures from all directions. I had to fight for my life, and with each kill, a bar on the statue decreased. It wasn't just a timed challenge. However, being inexperienced and unprepared, I was quickly overwhelmed by sea monsters and failed. But not entirely. From my perspective, I gained valuable knowledge about this world, which will aid me in future ventures. It was part of the learning process. Steeling myself, I chose to dive in again. On my second attempt, I had better luck. I faced sea monsters, learning how to combat them, and gradually gained experience and currency to open more chests and acquire useful items. Some creatures were harder to spot due to natural camouflage, while others were clearly visible. Throughout my adventure, I must admit the underwater world was filled with stunning visuals and high-quality pixel art. Various elements broke the near-total darkness of the deep, and in the background, I spotted ruins and remnants of the past. On the right side of my vision, I had sonar radar showing nearby chests and enemies. Below it was a list of tasks. The entire mission was divided into 5 zones, each housing deadlier enemies and stronger bosses. Simultaneously, I could become more powerful or obtain better equipment, always a trade-off. I ventured a bit too deep into the huddle zone, realizing I wasn't prepared for its challenges and wanting to complete tasks in one zone before moving to next. Tasks were straightforward. Defeat the zone main boss, defeat the secret boss, and open the zone chest. The last task was tricky because it requires destroying nearly every creature inside, hoping one would drop a key. Once I had a key, I could search for the chest. I thought the sonar radar should better indicate specific locations, as it's easy to get lost in the depths, and even if you spot a place or item once, finding it again later can be challenging. Anyway, as I spent more time in the Twilight Zone hunting sea monsters, I grew stronger and acquired cool stuff. Suddenly, a message appeared. New life form detected. A strange serpent-like beast appeared before me. I chose to attack it thinking it was just a stronger enemy. It fought back and, due to a glitch, it didn't fully engage me. Seizing the opportunity, I chased it. After a few more hits, it became clear this sea monster was a titanic boss and I was in deep trouble. Its powers were purely electrical, making the underwater even darker. The beast rushed at me multiple times, its tactic begging to cut off my vision and strike when I least expected it. It had both range and close attacks, hitting me repeatedly. The only moments I could deal significant damage or any damage were when it paused after rushing. After several cycles, I was on the brink of death multiple times, but I managed to survive and regenerate slightly. Using all my skills and a bit of luck, I finally claimed victory, much to my surprise. As a reward, I obtained a trait. Traits grant specific powers, either fully passive or triggered by specific events, like using a dash or executing 10 attacks. They are potent, and when combined with the right items, you can become formidable. I chose the Shocking Entrance trait, which boosted my dash ability with both range and additional damage. Perfect for me. Now, stronger and more confident, I ventured into deeper parts of the world, facing stronger enemies with less caution. I spotted sitting next to a statue as before a strange humanoid creature who turned out to be a lore master. Behind his words were many secrets, but I didn't find much useful information. I activated the statue again, and this time, being much stronger and more confident in my abilities, I wasn't mistaken. I beat the challenge and obtained a reward that boosted my powers even more. Now I wasn't as scared of other challenges, feeling well protected and armed, unless I had grown fond of the anchor weapon, frequently using its missile-like secondary attack. It was powerful and easy to use, though the tricky part was that it followed the cursor, occasionally trapping me in circles. Then an old enemy reappeared. A titanic boss had respawned. Feeling stronger and having defeated it once, I went all in, but my overconfidence led to my downfall. I fell. This taught me that even with better equipment and experience, I could still fail easily. A few mistakes and you are done for. The depths were indeed a nightmare. After a break, I decided to dive in a third time, this time choosing the harpoon weapon. It was weaker than the anchor but much faster. I thought if I could boost its capabilities, it would become deadly. I had to be more cautious at the beginning as the harpoon had a lower damage output. However, with the experience from previous attempts, I wasn't scared. I needed to be more precise and avoid unnecessary damage. The harpoon had a different secondary ability. I could shoot it out to catch prey. Depending on the target, I could pull enemies toward me or pull myself toward objects like stones or other inanimate items. Slowly, fish by fish, monster by monster, I gained more experience, equipment and powers. Then, once again, the titanic monster appeared. Having learned my lesson from previous fights, I knew the harpoon's lower damage would make the battle longer. After over 9 minutes of intense combat, I finally claimed victory and chose another trait. I continued to grow and decided to find the biome chest. The last task was to face main zone boss. Already with a stronger character, I was eliminating enemies quickly and the guardian construct fell before me. But that wasn't all. I had to venture deeper, so I did. In the new area, there were more new enemies, stronger and tougher to kill. However, having previously acquired useful items and traits, I was already stronger upon arrival. It was a nice change not to run scared from them anymore. The medial depths had a different appearance, and chests with items cost more than in previous zone. But the world's rules remained the same. After some time, a secret boss appeared, and I chose to challenge him. He had a few tricks under his hard shell, but once again, I was fortunate to be stronger, and he was taken down quickly. Not long after, I also obtained a key for a biome chest, which I of course opened. I noticed that this time the shopkeeper had changed appearance, replaced by a horrific monster. For some reason, I couldn't get any usable information from him. I thought to myself strange and move on, as it was pointless at that time to get anything from him. Maybe in future adventures he will play a more important role. Who knows? Now, having defeated the titanic boss and collected the zone chest, the last task was to fight the main boss here. To my surprise, the sea angel wasn't too hard. I started thinking I had collected too many good items and their combination was too strong even for next level monsters. In the next zone, the situation was similar. Indeed, the monsters there were stronger and tougher, dealing significant damage, yet that wasn't a problem in the end. A strange thing happened though. A titanic boss appeared. As since I was on edge before entering the even deeper fourth zone, he appeared in the third zone. I thought he was part of the third zone. As you might expect, I quickly defeated him and grew even stronger, of course obtaining new traits. At that moment I was very powerful, perhaps without even realizing how much. For some reason attacks seemed glitched, but that wasn't all. I was taking more hits from enemies because due to my perks so many things were happening on the screen that I had a hard time avoiding attacks. The real magma cavern zone titanic boss finally appeared, but he wasn't a match for me. Not even twice. I ruled there. It took me some time, but I managed to find the chest and quickly finish the magma zone boss. For a change, I found a strange cave room where I had to survive lasers for a particular time and I got a reward for it, another item to my collection. In the fourth zone, I started noticing that the world of the depths began lagging. Apparently so many things were happening simultaneously that I was starting to shake this universe. After defeating the boss from the fourth zone, a big pufferfish, I chose to go to the core as my mission intended. It was a long road and I've only mentioned the most interesting parts. As I got closer to the core zone, the world started breaking itself. I was dealing so much damage, spawning elements, attacks and enemies, that the game simply couldn't keep up anymore. Every movement I made triggered a storm of visual effects, perks and chain reactions. Enemies spawned, exploded or vanished before they even had a chance to react. My weapons fired like cannons and the entire ocean floor lit up like a rave gone rogue. The screen stuttered, animation froze for seconds at a time, some attacks didn't even register anymore, either because I was too fast or because the system just gave up trying to calculate it at all. I was so overpowered that I wasn't just breaking the balance, I was breaking the very fabric of the game. By the time I reached the core, it was no longer about survival or even the challenge. It felt more like pushing the engine to its absolute limit, seeing what it could take before it collapsed. And then, finally, the game essentially soft crashed. It was both hilarious and epic. I didn't just dive the depths, I overloaded. So if you are curious to explore the depth for yourself, test your skill, and maybe even unintentionally shatter the game like I did, check it out. Dive the Depths is a wild, cool and fun project. Thanks for listening to my deep sea ramblings, drop a like if you enjoyed the story, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care and see ya.